So I have a project here. This is a pocket watch that belonged to my grandfather, whose name was Warren Houck from Pennsylvania. And this watch actually belonged to his father, and his initials are on it right here, engraved in this area right here. So we can zoom in on that. Right there. And his name was Jacob Houck. And this watch is a 1908 Elgin. And I'll open it up here. It has a cover that snaps open. And as you can see, it's a Roman number dial with a sub 6 here for the seconds. And then I've already popped open the back, which is pretty cool. It has an engraved cover on the back, and then also a gold second cover over the movement. And this says Keystone case back or watch case, 14 karat gold. And here's the movement there, which is an Elgin 354. Again, 1908, but the serial number, they say it's plus or minus 3 years. So it could be as old as a 1905 or as new as a 1911. It is a 15 jewel movement, nickel plated, and it is a hunting configuration, meaning the stem and crown is at the 3 o'clock position, also called a sidewinder, because of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the movement out of the watch case here and clean it, and then put it back together. Right now, from what I can see, it is, the balance wheel will move. It's all the way wound up. So I don't know if the spring is broken. The movement looks pretty clean. And it could just be that it's just dirty and the wheels aren't turning anymore, even though the balance does want to go a little bit. So I think, hopefully, it just needs a cleanup after 115 years. And after that, then maybe we might get it to go. So that's our project. Here we go. I'm going to be putting back together this pocket watch, 1912, approximately 1912 Elgin. I'll start with the keyless works. See if I can get my hands out of the way as I do this. Get this gear on here. There we go. No, this third part. Realize you can't see anything when I do that, right? Okay, there we go. There we go. That is together now of a piece. So now I can put it right in here. this one piece without it falling apart. Hopefully. Okay, there we go. Get right in there. And that will require some oil, but I will do that later. Just going to hold that with my fingers to turn this around. Yeah. Okay. Now, do need that. I have all my parts laid out over here. You can just see a little bit of a right over here. Here, I'll give you all of my parts laid out. All been cleaned. So this, I have to think about how that goes. I think it goes the other way. Oops. There we go. So that is going to go, I'm just going to put that right there for right now, because now I need another piece, which looks like that. And that is, it has a little bit of a little tiny peg on there, right there. So I have to turn that upside down. It goes right over there, like that. And kicks in like that, so that'll need to have a screw on top of that right there. And then this interacts with that piece as well, and it goes on this little thing right here, like that. Just get that to go down. That's not right. Once I dry fit this, I am going to put some oil in here. Why is that not going in there? I know that this is right, because this piece comes up and pushes it in like that. And that stays there. That stays there too. This slides. I think I might need to consult my photo on this, because something is up. Unless I just have the wrong piece. Hold on. Actually, I do have the wrong piece. No wonder. That one goes on the other side. Oops. Where did it go? Yeah. So this is another one. Put that right on there. That, I don't know if you can see it, but it has a little bit of a, yeah, little peg on there as well. So, careful not to drop this so that it bounces. That peg goes right in that hole right there. Oh wait. Nope. There's two pieces. Let me show you this. There's two pieces that look very close together, and that is, yeah, here it is. Very similar. They both have pegs. There's the peg there. This is the one that I want. This one is actually the click that goes in. This actually, because it has this little tiny mark right here. Am I in the picture? There we go. It has this little tiny mark right there, or little piece of metal, and that actually makes the clicking sound when you wind a watch. So don't need that one yet. This is the one I need. And that is just going to go right in here. There we go. That looks like it goes together. Oh geez, look at that. Did you see that? Just popped out. Alright. Put that back there. Okay. Great. I'm not putting the screws in here yet because I need to put a little oil underneath here. But I just want to dry fit it first. So that I can be sure that this is where it goes. Ordinarily, I'd put the screw on that one. I'd put that screw on that one so that it doesn't fly away. And then I would just test the movement here. There we go. See how that's interacting? These two pieces interact like that, and it pushes that. Oh my gosh, look at that. Yeah. Okay. That's enough. I don't want to tempt faith. All right, let me get my oiler. And the 9010 oil. A teeny tiny bit of that. I like to keep it in the holder so this thing doesn't fly over. And actually, sometimes the cap has enough in it that I can just see that little bit in there. That's sometimes all you need. Because I'm literally, look at this oiler. It's like a pin. But it has a little tiny dished out end that will hold a little bit of oil. Sometimes when you put the oil in, you can't even see it. Okay, so now I got to take these two pieces out. And actually, we're learning together here because this is the wrong oil. I don't want this oil. I want grease. And the grease is red. So I'm going to close that up. I'm going to get my red oiler. Close this one up for now and go to the red stuff, which is called 9104. And I'm going to put a little bit under there. You can still see some in the cap there. Okay, take this piece away. Don't need that right now. Then I'm going to remove these guys, just enough to put a little oil down there. Just going to set it right there. And I'll put a little bit of oil right by that, right by this peg here. I'm going to put some right in there. This is good because you'll actually be able to see it. There we go. Tiny bit. That's all you need. Tiny bit of oil. And another one. Oops, that one still has the piece on it. Oh man, I just had a little bit of a skipped a heartbeat because I forgot where I put that piece. And you do not want to lose these guys. Okay. So a little bit of oil there and a little bit of oil here. That's enough. Plenty, actually, for that. Now, exciting. I can make my first 2 screws. Oh, okay, there we go. And the other one. There we go. This one has the peg on it, and the peg, I just dropped it. The peg, so I'm trying to hold it the right way. There we go. That peg goes right through that hole right there. It's like a pivot. Sometimes it helps to put it down here first before I... Okay, I'm gonna oh yeah, so I'm putting it in the wrong hole. There we go. I was like, why isn't it fitting? Okay. Put that there. See how they get those. Yep. Okay. That's it. Just give it a little test. Yep. Okay, so now I need 2 screws. Tighten that down. And there. Whoa. Gotta be so careful when you bring these things over, or else it could, they could jump on you. I'm gonna steady it in with this thing here, with the, whoops, gosh, okay, hold on. There we go. Get in there. It's really not wanting to cooperate. Okay. Now, get my screwdriver. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I'm gonna... ever so carefully. See, I just moved it. The name of the game here is just don't rush. It will happen, but it might take a long time. Okay, so I did a little looking, and I was actually trying to use the wrong screw. And let me show you. These ones here, I don't know if I can get any closer, maybe just a touch. Yeah, so I was trying to use this size screw. It's too big. These are the two. They're very similar, but you can see these threads are smaller. So I'm going to give this a try. See if I can get these in. I'm trying to hold it with my tweezers. Oh, look at that. Makes a difference when you actually have the right screw. This is my first time working on this movement. I'm not going to tighten it all the way right now. I'm just going to put that one in. And then here's the other one. What I'm going to do is just turn that so that it is the right direction. Now over here. go. Great. So now I'm going to tighten that down. I don't know if you can see, because you really can't really see this when I do that. How about when I do this? Maybe you can see a little bit better if I do. Yeah, I think you can. Right, if I could just tighten just enough to tighten it. I don't know, that's what I'm going for. It's just kind of like just enough. Just a touch past snug. Okay. These jewels, these pivots are all clean now. So what I want to do is I want to flip this over and finish this, but I don't want this to fall out. I have a feeling it might. Yes, it will fall out because there's nothing to hold that in. I don't like to use metal on metal. I use just my plastic pusher here. Okay. What holds that in is the bridge. It's the barrel bridge. So what I will do is see right there, that's where the winding stem goes, and this is actually where the winding stem goes here. So I'm going to just put that in there, even though I'll have to take it off eventually, but what this will enable me to do is turn this over without the works coming off. And that is not fitting in there right, so that means this is not exact. Try that. See what I'm looking at there is right there. You can see where it's not lying flat, and so it should just fall right into place. When everything's lined up, that's what happens. It just falls right into place. And when it does this, you know something's not right. So what I could do here is I could take this whole piece out and do this a little bit different. I'm going to leave that together like that, but now I'm going to flip this over so that I can put the components on this side without that falling out into the abyss or on my table. Now I'm going to need this spring. Is that in? Yeah, it's in the shot. That spring, I'm going to need that cog. I'm going to need that. Here's another fun little piece here. Try to hold it toward the camera. I'm not going to play with it too much because I don't want it to pop away. And this, and the tiniest screw in the watch, which is that, which goes with that one. You know, these, you really don't even want to, breathe hard, let alone sneeze when you're working on this. I mean, if you need to sneeze, you really should leave the room. Okay. And that wheel. And I think that is it for this segment right here. Okay. So since I'm pretty sure this is going to just go, that I'm not going to fit this and go back and forth here. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my grease, and I'm going to put a drop right there. And I'm going to put some in a couple places here where I know I'm going to be working. So one right there. And this is what they say, metal on metal, right? So you don't want that. Put a little there. And where's the other pivot point? Oh, it's right up here. This is look right there. Oh, right, and then that's where this cog is going to go right in there. So definitely want some grease right in there. Yeah, that's about right, just like that. Okay. See if I can remember the order. This is why I'm going to need that. I'll set it right there for right now. This little peg right there interacts in this movement here. This is the part here that when on a pocket watch you have the stem. When you pull the stem, you can either wind the watch or set the watch. You push it and pull it. This is what activates your motion of pulling and pushing. It takes that movement and moves things around on the inside of the watch so that you can set your watch. And it's going to go right in like that. Although I may have it upside down. I think I do. Yeah. There we go. I don't know if you can see that there's a little cog right there. I want to make sure that it's in. And I'm not confident that it is. Heard that click? I'm going to put a screw on that real quick because that's now under tension. So if something happens and that thing pops up, I do not want it to fly across the room. So now I am thinking that this is this screw here. Another tiny one. See? I'm going to try to reorient that. This is just nothing but practice, really. Really just, I know that you just cannot rush it. I think to be successful at this, somewhere really deep down, you have to find this relaxing. If you don't, you will go too fast. And you will put too much pressure. Did you hear that? That was just it, the threads clicking in. So let me see if this thing will move now. Look at that, see? It's under tension. Pretty cool. Let's do an easy one, since that one took a while. This cog can go in either way. It's the same, top or bottom. This goes right here. Like that. That doesn't get a screw, that gets covered up, and that will hold it into place. So now, actually I take that back, it does get a screw, but it has, what happens is this goes over top of it, and that tiniest screw goes right in there. I'm gonna wait on that. Right now I know that this goes over here, and I can't remember if I put oil in there. I don't see oil right there. I'm gonna put a little more of the grease right there. I think I did, but maybe I may have bumped it with my fingers, and so now it's disappeared. That's all it needs. Just like that. So now, remember I had these 3 screws? One that I tried to use on the other side. They're gonna go one there and one here. And then another one over here. Someplace I haven't figured out yet. Now the thing about this, yeah, that should, if I'm remembering correctly, it should countersink into this spot. So it should be easier to go in, and it should then be flat. Man, okay. Just have to straighten that up a little bit. It jumped. The trick is to try to, there we go, try to seat it like that. And then you just back it up a little bit and then go forward. I heard it click. Yep. That goes right up. Whoa! Okay. All right, no harm, no foul on that. My movement holder wasn't tightened up enough. So when I was tightening that up, it pivoted. All right, here's how you know it's right, is even though that screw is tightened down, this can move pretty freely. And it has the grease underneath so that I'm gonna put it this way because now this other spring goes in here. And I'm going to turn it so that it interacts correctly. This little hook goes up on this point right here, which comes in from the other side of the plate. This hook goes right here and interacts with this like that. I'll show you in a second. It goes right there. Yep. There we go. It's in, just needs a screw. It is very satisfying to have this big, plate of parts and have them slowly diminish as you find the right place for them. Good. Now before I tighten that all the way, I'm just going to make sure that this is interacting. Yes, it is. Good and tight. Check this one again. Good and tight. So now okay. I actually think so. I need to check a reference photo on here because I'm pretty sure the way this is, it's not interacting. See, that is not going up there right. So I think this hook, I need to check it. I think that might need to go in down here rather than up there. Let me check. Be right back. Okay, so I checked my reference photo and I was right, or I should say I was wrong, and now I'm right. Or, better yet, I was right to question whether it was right. So did you follow that? So I took this out, and now instead of having this hook part be up here on top of the peg or below, maybe from your angle, it needs to go over here. Like so. I'm going to move that over like that so that will go in a little bit better. Just like that. This, again, this piece, this spring piece, is countersunk, meaning it provides a bit of a support for the screw, so it doesn't make it quite as hard to get it in. Although you have to back it up. Oops, I'm getting into a little bit of travel there. Come on. There we go. When you feel it, it's so satisfying. You can feel it set into the thread. So things working okay there. I'm gonna we go. Give it a full tighten. Now I can show you when this is activated. See that? When this is activated, it pushes that whole mechanism. So this goes over here, and the power kind of goes through this lever and over this way, and it pushes that peg. And then when you let it go, it allows that to click over. And allows this peg from the other side to go around. What does this all mean? All this means is this is called the keyless works system. And this enables, when you pull the stem of the watch, for you to be able to either wind the watch or set the time. I'm going to leave it in that position right now. Okay, so just a touch more grease over here. I think this grease was moving a little bit. Let's see if I can get my cap. I'm going to put a little bit right there, and then also another one right here. Will be good, because oh, you know what? Actually, I didn't need that there yet, but this I do. There we go. There's a little axle that this cog sits on, and it engages with this. So what happens is the stem is right here, theoretically, and it winds this piece right here, and when it's in wind mode, it winds the barrel on the other side of this plate. When it's on time set, it interacts with this cog here through this cog in order to move the hands. The hands are on this side of the plate. So the dial is going to go here, and then the hands will go on top of the dial. So this is what's underneath the dial. Great. I think I'm going to remove that. I'm going to remove that grease right now just so it doesn't get in the way, because I'm not ready to put that piece on. And yes, I will blow this off before, because you can already see, like microscopically, I just left some dirt right there. I'll blow it off so it's not going to be there anymore. But you want this to be as dust-free as possible. Okay. Now, this little cover goes over that cog to keep it in place. And then the screw goes into that hole right there. And so this will keep both of those things in place. And I don't like to tap this too much. It's metal on metal, so usually I would use my plastic piece there, but I want to pick this back up because I think it's in upside down. It's already a little bit tight. I'm putting my finger over it because if you're flicking up, that could have just flown who knows where. So I'm just going to flip it over. Yes. I can see that this side is countersunk, so this is going to fit much better. Still not right. Yeah, still not in there right. There's the ridge where that lays in, and here's the ridge over here too. There we go. Yeah, I heard it snap. Yep, just was not quite lined up right. So now it's flat. And now for the tiniest screw. This is, if you can see, it is about, I don't know what you would compare this to. The base of a pin, maybe? You can see it's about as big as the tip of this plastic tool. Yep, actually I can felt it kind of click in there. I need my, pretty small screwdriver. These screwdrivers are great. Okay. Okay. That is good. Now I can, that's about all I'm going to do on this side. The rest I'm going to be working from this side here. Okay, a little bit of a jump cut here, but just to recap what I did. So I have the barrel bridge and the, what I'll call the wheel bridge here. There's 2 cogs here, and then 1, 2, 3 cogs on this barrel, including the mainspring barrel, which is right there. That took a little while, I'm not gonna lie, to get that to seat in there correctly. But now I can do this, which is really cool. Let me show you. If I move the barrel, all them wheels move. Perfectly. Which of course is what you want. And then at the very end I'll oil all this. They're not even oiled yet. A little bit of oil on there. That's so cool. When you move the barrel just a little bit, the escapement wheel just flies. The next step is to put the pallet fork on. Once I do that, then I won't be able to spin these wheels like this. Cool. All right, I'm going to turn it this way. Hopefully that's still seeable. This thing is so fragile, light and tiny. And I don't know if you can actually see this, but this is going to, here's the pallet fork, and it's going to go right in that jewel setting right there. And then this long part of it here, the upright, if it's a T, is like the upright part of the T, will go in between these two posts right here. And then there's a pallet fork bridge that goes there to hold that in place. So here it goes. That is pretty close. The escapement wheel is just a little bit in the way. I think that is it. So I'm just moving the pallet fork just a little bit back and forth. And I can see that it is engaging with the escapement wheel there in the way it's supposed to. I'm just going to look at it under the magnifier just to see if I can. I have to move it out of the camera. It looks to be in place. So now I can take the escapement, the pallet bridge, and put this right in here. Right here, there's a jewel right there. So that holds the upper part of the pallet fork in place. Try to put this in without knocking the pallet fork. Needs to circle around. Like that. Now, just give pallet fork a little bit of a move to see if that has settled in there. Oh, do you see that? Just not quite. A little wiggly. That's it, right there. So you screw that down. Okay, so that is in place there, the pallet fork bridge, and now I just need to put the one screw popped right in there. So far, so good. I'm not going to finish tightening it yet. I'm just going to see here if, yeah. So you can see the pallet fork move. And the reason it's not moving the escapement wheel at this point is because there's no tension on the mainspring. Otherwise, that escapement wheel would move. However, what we can do is I can try to move the barrel, and now it won't be able to move these wheels because yeah, you can actually see it right in there. You can see how the escapement wheel is interacting with the pallet, which is what we want. That is a result. So I'm just gonna just finish giving that a little bit of a tighten. Oh wait, this is actually at an exciting point here because this is coming together. So I think what we'll do next is do the click. I'm gonna do this top barrel wheel, which will cover that, and the click. See that tiny click spring right in there? I didn't even take that out. It seems accessible enough to be able to clean it when I cleaned it, and I don't see the need to actually remove that. Now, the number of parts are getting fewer and fewer, which is good news. So I think what we'll do is I'll put in the ratchet wheel. Ratchet wheel will go right here, but you know what? I think this might be a good idea to put a little bit of grease, not on the cogs here, but on the winding mechanism. Right in there. Put a little bit in there. I'll also oil it from underneath too, but whoa, that's way too much. Okay. Right, so I'll just put a little bit right in there. And a little bit right here where that where the ratchet is going to go. Just a touch. Yeah, right there. A little bit over there too. Woo. It's almost a little bit too much. And look under my magnifier at that because I got pretty close to that cog, which I don't want. I think I can use my toothpick and just pick up a little bit of that. Yeah. Just push that away from the brass cogs, train of wheels, whatever you want to call that thing. That goes right in there, and the top washer. Have to flip it around without flipping it into the abyss. Tap that with my plastic stick. There we go. Look at that. Just like perfect. This is the ratchet wheel is a left-hand screw. So to tighten it, you turn it to the left. You can hear it when it seats in there. Go ahead and give it its full torque. Now the barrel. This one's sometimes difficult just to get it off of the surface. Love the design that's machined into the top of that. It has a square hole, and it's going to go right on the square part of the barrel. Just to orient it correctly. I might have to loosen up that ratchet barrel to get that. You know, as you do this more, you realize like the little shortcuts. So actually that went in. What I was learning is it's probably better to put this one in first and then that one. But that actually did seat down there. And that's in there. So before I put the screw in there, I'm going to put the click. Remember, this was over on the keyless works side. This was the part that I got confused earlier. This is the click. And it has a little tab there that interacts with the barrel wheel to, like, it's like a one-way, it's like a ratchet basically, so it's one way. So as you wind up the barrel and put tension in the spring, this tab goes into the cog to hold it, but when you wind it, it kind of goes one way but not the other. And so this peg goes in that tiny hole right there. Almost. doesn't quite look right. I'm going to put the screw in this one. Those are hard to get a hold of. Okay, there we go. These look to be the same screw or type of screw for each one. Now this is a regular threaded screw, so we turn it to the right. And that is interesting. That is not grabbing. That is not the right screw. So I will put it over here on the click. Okay, that's correct. But now it's just not interacting here with this. I'm just going to back that off a little bit so I can get this other screw in this one. Like that. You know, when you wash these parts, they all go together. All these screws, just go into one big pile. And you would say, well, why don't you keep track of them better? I suppose you could. But once you start to see the difference between the screws, you kind of know basically where they go. Although on this watch, there are about 6 screws that are very hard to tell apart. You just almost have to just trial and error it. Okay, so that click just needs to get into that cog there. Okay. Is that it? Let's see. Kind of know is when you go to tighten it, you can kind of feel and see if it's right or not. That's where we'll look in. Yeah. Yeah, the click is engaged. And see, here's a little bit of a test. So I can actually put a wind on the barrel if I just tighten it. And what will happen is if I did this right, you'll be able to see and hear the click. Like that. It's actually winding the spring. So I don't want to wind the spring right now, but that is good news. Let me just, I did feel something kind of seat in that process. So let me just see if this needs any more tightening. It's pretty good. This is my left hand. I'm going to use a bigger screwdriver on that one. Yep, I needed a little bit of a There we go. And then this one should already be tight because I was winding it. Yep. All right. Good. Look at that. It's starting to look like a complete movement. Wow. The only thing left for over here is the balance wheel, the balance assembly, which goes right here. But the thing about this is I need to see the cap jewel needs to be oiled. And I can, yep, on this I can access the cap jewel here with these two screws. However, I'm going to need to, once I take those two tiny screws out to release the cap jewel, I'm going to need to push it out from underneath. So I can't put this in yet. That'll be a project, a little project. But let's see what we got on the other side here. Well, I'm not ready to put the dial on yet. And the same thing here. This over down here is the, that's the cap jewel for the bottom of the balance wheel. Right here. So I'm going to need to take that out. And to get that out, I'm going to need to punch that out from the top, which I still have access to. So that's probably the next thing. It's a pretty tedious process, but that has to be done. And now is the point, I think, where I'm going to do that. So that's next. Okay, so I've done a little work here off camera. Check out these screws. They are tiny, and they came from this cap jewel right here. One there and one there. And this brass cap jewel, it's 2 parts. It's even marked with a, from the factory, like a indentation, so that you know how to line it up once you put it back in. It's an indentation that half of it's on the plate and half of it's on the brass cap jewel frame. Pretty cool. So just need to pop that out. I'm just going to push right there, and that will push it right out into, you know, it's been 100 years since this has come out, probably, my estimate. A bit sticky. Yikes. And that pallet fork is right there, so man, you cannot mess that up. Or you pretty much just ruin the whole watch if you do. So, let me try another way of doing this. It's like, gosh, when you push on it, you don't want to push the jewel. That's too big. Because you might crack that tiny, tiny, tiny jewel. Doesn't feel like a while. Getting great leverage here. Now, take a close look. You know what? These two screws, I'm going to put them in my bowl because they are so flipping tiny. They make my tiny screws look huge. Look at that. Okay. Yeah, you don't even want to like breathe near that. They'll just fly away. Very tempting on this cap jewel just to drop some oil in there and call it a day. But I'm gonna at least try. I've got the screws out. I'm going to try to oh, there it goes. Just pushed on the edge farther away from the pallet fork because that is so precise. All right. And there is my two pieces of cap jewel. This one here is a full jewel, meaning there's no hole in it, or the cap. And then this one is an indentation and it has a hole in it, and that is that's what the balance wheel pivot sits in, like the pin that goes right in the center of that. Okay, curious to see how they look dirty. Yeah, they really don't. But this, they're so small, the dirt you really can't even see. So you need to, I'm going to clean them and then reinstall it. I have a little glass tray of alcohol. It's isopropyl alcohol, and not very much in there, but it's just enough to be able to put that. Can you see this? There we go. Put it right in there. Boop. And the other one. There we go. And what I'm going to do is just move the my little stick here. I'll hold it with the tweezers and just just try to kind of clean that off a little bit. Just a little bit. You really don't want to hold them, put too much tension on here, or else they might fly. So just kind of trying to do that. If I can turn it over. There we go. That's the bottom side. You don't really need to clean that because it's this one is the cap, right? So there's you just have to clean the underside. And probably there's old dried up oil in there from 100 years ago. And where there's old dried up oil, there is old dirt. So what you're going for here is that when you finish, that it just like shines like glass, kind of like clean a mirror, you know. Okay, that's that one. Now this one is the whole jewel. So I can put the point of my stick in there. Yeah, actually see the hole. You can actually see it. I was going to say see it with the naked eye, but my naked eyes would not be able to see this for sure. It's interesting, you know, I have cleaned these capsules where, you know, you just start just scraping like this and you can actually see little like dust pieces kind of coming away. All right. Great, so I'm going to set that up to dry, and then what I'll do is before I put it back, I will put oil in there, and the capsule will hold it in place. Get my tweezers on there. Because this is alcohol, this is not water, so it's alcohol, so it will just evaporate. These are the movement screws right there. I'm going to put them in my bowl. And just a bridge screw. That's the balance screw. It's tempting to want to just blow on these to dry them, which would be disastrous, of course. All right. So what you want to see here is the, look at it under the magnifier just to see if it looks shiny and clean. Yeah. Yeah. Yep, that looks clean. Looks very clean. Okay, this is the indentation side. So this is where my toothpick is. That is actually where the point on the bottom of the balance wheel will go in there to rotate from. So we'll need a little bit of oil right in there. And I'm also going to put a touch right in there, as this goes on top of that, and it will seal the oil in there. Just want to put a dab right on the top here. Yep. Oops, that just flipped over. It's stuck. It's okay. Just putting that together like that. And that's how it's going to go back into the bottom of the movement. So this is the trick to see whether it will go in as a combined piece together or if I need to put them in one by one. So I think I will try to put them in together. I'm just going to go right in there. And then, of course, it needs to line up. That punch line that I was telling you about needs to line up. Okay, it fell out of my tweezers, but it actually did still stay together because the oil helps keep it together. Just turning it. Turn, turn, turn. Now I can see, if you can see it in the reflection, I can see the punch line in there, which lines up with this punch line right there. So I just need to get those lined up like that. Looks pretty good. I'm just going to give it a little tap. Now looks like it's just a touch off. See if I can coax it over. Oh, there you go. Now, just going to give it a tap. And it's not quite seated. So, at this point, I think I'm going to put my finger here because I'm going to pry that one up. When you're prying, you want to cover it, otherwise it could pop up. Yeah, there's the oil to worry about there a little bit, but I'm just going to turn this upside down, and the oil should still be in there fine. Okay, so now what I'm seeing is that the first part there is just not, it's crooked. So the good thing is it doesn't have to be lined up. It just needs to go, there we go. There. It does have to be perfectly flat, or it will cause friction with the balance wheel pivot when it's running. So let me see what I can see under here. Yeah, looks to be good. So now I can take this capsule setting, flip it around, find the punch marks. You'll see it has in addition to the line punch mark, it also has little semicircles on both sides, which is where, there you can see it, which is where the screws come in. There we go, so they turn it a little bit. So the screws then hold that in place. It's off. There we go. Whoa. Pretty close. Look under the magnifier to see if that's lining up. Yeah, it's pretty far off. It's funny when you look at it under the magnification, you could see like how it looks so far off. Like everything else, you know, you just have to kind of be patient. I'm just covering that with my finger because it wants to seat in there. But if I have to pry up, well, that's pretty close. That actually might be good. Yeah, just popped right in there. Yep. Yeah, I'm going to call that really good. Now for these unbelievable screws. This is my smallest screwdriver, and it just barely gets them. So there, one there and one over there. Add a little light to this because I need all the help I can get. Whoa, oh my gosh. Look at that. It went right in there. I'll take it. Just see if I can. Set it. That looks pretty good. Popped out. Oh, that was really close. I almost had it there. You start to think, oh, there's no way that I can do this. And then it just goes in. Like that. Just kind of requires so much patience. And if this one, if I'm going to have trouble with this one, what I'll do is I'll switch the screw and use it on the other side. And just sometimes just a little bit of that change of strategy. Will help it. Yeah, it seems to get to like that point and then it goes crooked a little bit, which yeah. I think I might be turning it a little bit. It's not bad. That's good. Ah, see? There it was. Now another incredibly tiny screw over on this side. Actually, I heard it. Did you hear it? It just kind of clicked. Wow, look at that. That went right in. I'm not going to tighten these too much, you know, you just want to have them seated. Okay. That is it. Just going to see if I can feel any, like a flange of that. That one's flat, and you know what? I can kind of feel that one a little bit. Let me see under the magnification, though. It might not be that bad. I got that punch mark perfect. Yeah, that's fine. That is a result. Yeah. Okay. Cleaned and in good shape. Okay. I'm going to do the same to the balance wheel. So after looking at the balance here, I decided not to remove that cap jewel. What I did was I looked at it under the magnifier, and it looks pretty clean. And so what I did was I pulled the spring up, and I just carefully put some oil in the cap jewel, actually in the whole jewel. So I did that because when I took the watch apart, the balance was actually moving really, really well. And now I've already redone the bottom cap jewel, and I've oiled the top cap jewel. I'm just going to see how that works when I get it in the watch. So I'm going to put this in here now. You know, sometimes the hard part is just figuring out how to hold it. This always looks funky when you go to do this because it just hangs by that spring. And there is a lot of things that have to engage together here to put this right in. Wheel goes underneath that cog, just like so. Seats in there. Interacts with the pallet jewel. Like that. Now, it's just a fine tuning here. And you know, when it just seats just perfectly, what you can do is just add a little bit of air and move my bowl of screws around so the air doesn't blow them all around. So if I put a little bit of, okay, it's not moving yet. That means it's not seated yet. Not quite right. It's not seated down. Hey, it's working. There's not much of a wind on that spring, but look at that. You can see it is moving the escapement wheel. That's exciting. Look at that. It's moving the escapement wheel and the other cog wheels. Okay, there it stopped. But again, there's not much wind in that watch, like only about maybe a quarter of a turn. And I haven't tightened this down yet. Okay, there we go. That's why it was binding a little bit. All right, so I need to get a screw in there. These screws here that hold down the bridges, they're all the same. So there's about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In this watch, there's 5 of them. And I love them because they just go right in there. After working with those tiny screws, this feels like working on a 57 Chevy. And not quite. See, it's starting to bind a little bit there, so I don't like the feel of that. So just give it a little bit of a move around there. There we go. See that? I like that. That is moving much better. So maybe I will just put pressure here while I finish this screw. I'm going to go all the way out. Wow, that's not right. Do not like the feel of that at all. It's tight. It should not be that way. The balance, though, is great. Seems like it really wants to and you know, that's without any oil. Yeah, now it's stopping a little bit. Not with any oil in these pivots here. And actually, interestingly, see there, these are cap jewels here with 2 screws on each. So I can actually take those out and oil them, and I should do that too. That's going to take a little while because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those tiny screws. But it's actually an indication of the quality of the watch. This is a 15 jewel watch. And so the pocket watch that I have, these are actually just like pin levers. There's no jewels here. There's just a hole in the metal, and the pin comes up through the hole in the metal, which is cheaper watch. But these have jewels, so a little bit more expensive watch. I wonder why that is. Maybe what I'll do is just take out one of these other ones. See if it makes a difference. Put that in here. I don't especially remember when I took the balance out that this was really hard going. Yeah, it's still, I wonder if there's something in that hole. It's just not quite going. All right, well, disappointingly, I have to take the balance out again just to see if I can take a look down there to see what's going on with the, whoa, the whole movement's coming out now. I'm going to pry it out with my toothpick. There's a little hole here between the 2 plates, so you can pop it up. Using wood, of course, so you don't get... Gosh, there we go. Don't want to do like heavy prying with metal on metal because it will make a scratch. And this movement looks pretty good, you know. It's pretty clean. It's amazing, you know. Think about how old it is. Although it's lived in a drawer in a box probably for at least 75 years. Okay. Well, it doesn't see. Oh, you know what? I know what it is. Look at that. The screw is, I think, hitting this part of the holder. So if I just move the movement a little bit, let me give that a try now without the balance in it, just to see if that. It's going to be this one, I think. No, not that one. It's going to be this one. Yeah, this is the threaded hole here. I don't actually know if that thing that I just thought was the issue. I think that this might have something in it. See if I can peg it out a little bit. Look at it under the. Well, it doesn't appear to have anything in it. It's just a hole that passes through. I don't know. It might just. I might just need to work through it. Meaning, I hate to, like, when it's starting to go rough, you know, just to, like, force your way through it. You never want to, like, force things in this. Let's see if I can get this to go in. There we go. Yeah, it is. It's just starting to. All right. Yeah, it's just a little bit more friction than you would expect. But now it's down below, right at the level of the plate, and still screwing in. So, oh gosh. Yeah, okay, that's all right. Okay, now put the balance back in. I'm just going to remember this screw by putting it right here. Now the balance. I can calm that guy down. There you go. Okay, find your place. Places, everyone. It kind of just fell right into place, I think. First, let me just use the, give it a little jiggle. Oh, that was too much of a jiggle. There we go. Ah, heard something click. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So now, holding my breath. Oh yeah, actually that went in a whole lot better now. I must have, who knows, it might have had a little bit of dirt in the threads there. All right, and now this bridge screw can go back over here. Aye, come on. There we go. Just make sure all these are good shape. Oh, yeah. Gosh, you hate that. Gosh. All right. I'm going to put this in a little bit more secure setting in this holder. There we go. All right. Good. Still, it's probably a good idea to kind of keep your fingers on it. All right. What I'm going to do now is, look at that. Oops, that's a little bit something. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Whoa, that's spinning nicely. And again, there's still no oil on it other than right there. I put some oil on the top there and on the bottom. Now I'm going to put a little bit more tension or wind on the barrel. This will be satisfying because this will make our click sound. That's good. Not great amplitude, meaning this wheel should really be turning. Oh, it's just barely going. It is turning the watch, though. But I would imagine we need to take these out, and that will make a difference. Hopefully that will make a difference. Yeah. One thing I didn't do is replace the mainspring. It did look old. I will say that. So if I can't get this to stay running, then I might think about replacing that mainspring. Who knows? Could be original. 100 years. I mean, it is. You can see it's moving. It's not super confident, but it is running. And that's kind of cool. Very cool. There you can see the escapement wheel. See those cogs turning, pretty cool. And it says Elgin National Watch Co. I think it says Co. Elgin National Watch Co. USA. 15 joules safety pinion. All right. Just let that run a little bit. Let's see what happens. I have it on the dial back here on the plate. Just wanted to point out something that I noticed about this when I was taking it apart. There is this lever that actuates on the keyless works right here, that screw, I thought was stripped. It actually was stripped, not the screw, but the hole was just, just a touch too big. This is under tension because this whole piece here is a spring, and you can see the lever actuates into the keyless works here. What I did was I put a microscopic tiny piece of wood in the hole there, and then put the screw in, and now it's binding. So I was able to tighten it. Surprisingly, it just worked. I actually was contemplating even putting Loctite on that, but I really don't want to if I don't need to. I have put the Mobius 9010 oil on the bottom pivot points here, the ones that I can get to, which are, that's the sub 6, and these two here, and that one's sealed, but yeah, with the Mobius oil. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lubricate the keyless works with the red grease. I like working with this stuff because it looks like you're doing something. Just in there like that. And up here as well. This is where that, what do you call it? That cog is right in there. Yeah. I might just put another touch just right up here where this is going together. Just, where metal and metal come together. Okay, that's plenty. Plenty. They say you don't want too much. It's hard. It takes very discipline not to put too much oil on it. Okay. Pretty cool. So it is still kind of turning. It is moving, but the amplitude is way down. I don't know why. I think I still haven't done those cap jewels, so maybe I will do that now. But very glad to see that this screw is seated. I was actually trying to find a replacement screw, and then I just tried to tighten it up, and it worked. So good news. I'm going to work on those cap jewels on the top, and then might be able to put the dial on. Okay, I did take off this, what I thought was a cap jewel here, on the barrel bridge right there. It's not a cap jewel. It's just a hole jewel in a brass surround. Didn't really need to take that out because I had cleaned all of this and pegged the holes when I gave it an alcohol bath. Anyway, so took it apart, put it back together. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of the Mobius 9010 here and all of these pivots that are exposed. Here. 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 You can see I've actually touched the top of the pin there. That's why the balance stopped for momentarily. And then the hour. Still pretty poor amplitude, actually. Like it should be more like that. Would be awesome. And I just remembered that I have not yet lubricated the palette. So to do that, I really should wind down the spring. Need my toothpick. Oops. Last time I did this, the barrel kind of got away from me, which is not good. Just slowly let that down. Take the tension out. Wasn't much in there. Okay, that's pretty good. I like that. And the balance stopped. Okay, great. So now I can put, I'm going to use a special escapement oil. This is a very fine. Okay. The tip of this pin is so tiny that I literally can't really tell if you get any in there. Put a little in there. I think that's probably good. Now, okay, I didn't show it, but I have oiled the palette fork and a little bit of the escapement wheel. It's difficult, but I did do it. All right, I'm going to flip this over. I should put my gloves back on too, because I'm going to finish up the dial side. Go ahead and get to this going. So, firstly, the cannon pinion there is going to go right on the stem there, and then it's going to interact with that wheel that's right there. Yeah. Make sure that's down all the way. I think it is now. Oh, there we go. Little snap. That's what I was listening for. What a bit of that. And then I'm going to put a little bit of the red grease just on right here. And then, got a little bit too much there. Okay. And then just a little bit of a tiny drop here. Whoa. That's pretty much, let me see if I can pick some of that up. Good. Then this final, which would be the minute hand, I believe. The cog for the minute hand goes over that. Yeah. Okay. Let me just check the oil down here. Okay. Now, gosh, we are ready for the face here. This dial is so clean that I just I just took some dust off of it just using this swab, just like that. There's a little bit there, right there. I just actually, that came up. But really clean. Again, for like 110 years old, 112 years old. Pretty cool. Okay. Let's see what the back of it looks like. It looks like that, kind of like an agate material, with 3 studs there, and they go into the case back like this. And then they get put down with some screws. There we go. A little bit of a snap right there. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So that's where one of the screws goes there. There's another one. Let me start with that one. So, okay. Since the last video clip here, I've done pretty much all the work to finish this watch, as you can see. But let me just tell you, just catch you up on what I did. So I had the dial in. I was putting the dial screws in to hold the dial to the movement. That went very well. After that, I just lightly cleaned this dial. The dial face is in really just excellent condition. So I just, kind of got some of the loose dirt off of it very lightly. That's all it really required. And then I put the 3 hands on, just carefully pressing them into place. And this tiny second hand, as you can see, is just like an eyebrow hair. And got that on, and then I put the movement back into the case here, and let me see, put it in the right configuration. You can see it's running really, really well. Put it into the case, and it's held in place with these 2 screws right here, these case screws. And then I left it open here, and it's actually been about a week since I finished the movement. I've just been winding it up every day, and I am really thrilled with how the movement is performing. It is, the wind lasts for about 24 hours, and the accuracy is right on. I didn't have to do any adjusting, and it's keeping just really perfect time. And, about the amplitude, it's not as strong as, maybe you'd want to see. I'd guess that maybe the amplitude is about 90. Might even be a little less than that. But honestly, it really is. It's like I said, it's keeping great time. So I guess nothing to complain about there. But it's just such a gorgeous movement, and it's just really, I just love the look at it. I almost hate to cover it up in order to finish it, but I have this video now, so if I ever want to take a peek at it, I can. To open up the watch case, you do have to kind of pry open this case, which you just don't want to do that too many times. And you can see, actually, this cover has just a little bit of 2 dents right there. I think I'll probably let it go, but I could try to, kind of carefully roll them out. But unless it affects the movement, I think I probably will just leave it. Really beautiful, almost no wear on this watch case. You can still see the leaf, the branches and ribs of the leaf there in the gold case. That's the back. And then in the front, just this looks really great. There's no rust, no discoloration. And then on the front, there's just a slight, maybe not even a dent, but just a bit of just a slight indentation, maybe you'd call it there. Not very noticeable. And the engraving still looks really good, and it's just amazing for something that's been in our family for so long, just to be able to have it running in a good shape. As far as being a usable watch, I mean, certainly it's running, so it's usable. It's a little bit maybe a little bit strange to have to kind of open up this case every time you want to look at the watch time, but over the last week, I've just left it open, sitting on my desk, and that's pretty cool too, just to have it there. It's actually pretty small. As you know, you've been watching me do this. It's maybe about the size, a little less than a $half. A little bigger than a quarter, a little bit smaller than a $half. The size from Elgin is 0S, and a grade 354 is the movement. So there you go. You were with me most of the way, so thanks for watching, and look forward to doing another one soon. Just a note on just closing it up is you don't want it to click it close. You want it to kind of push this in and have it just seat that way. So that's it. That's the 1908 Elgin 354 movement 0S size. And thanks for joining me on this.